I always like to talk about schedules. So we're going to talk about scheduling today and really get you into a good schedule while you're working this part-time job. There is a win-win circumstance. There is a way to do both. I don't know what that looks like yet. Obviously, we're going to work through it together, right? We're going to have to, kind of move some things around in the schedule. We're going to try to make it work. That's going to be one. Second thing I want to talk about together is really getting a better understanding of what your minimum commitments can be, okay, on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis. The reason why we do minimum commitments is because I want you to be able to say like, hey, I can commit to doing, as an example, let's just say an hour a day of prospecting. I can generate, my minimum commitment is 1 lead a day every day, 5 days a week, 3 days a week, 1 day a week, whatever it is, right? Like I'm going to, whatever. We're going to come up with minimum commitments for you because I want you to know like those minimum commitments, it's like going to the gym. Right? Like, it's like, okay, hey, I can't go to the gym for 3 hours right now. It's just absolutely impossible for me to do that. But I can say, like, I could definitely go to the gym for probably 40 minutes. Right? So it's like, hey, if I can do my 40 minutes every day, that's my minimum commitment. I'm going to do that 7 days a week. No ifs, ands, or buts, rain or shine. No matter how I feel, I'm going to the gym for 40 minutes. So it's like small little things like that where like, I don't need us to start with saying, hey, you're going to do 10 hours a day every day of this. It's just not possible.
Feasible. Yeah, it's true.
Last thing we're going to do here is set up goals. So we're going to have micro goals. And the reason why we do this is that this is not goals, not just about finances, right? Like obviously we want to make great money, but it's also about hitting micro goals in regards to levels of understanding. So I want you to say like, hey, like, okay, I want to have X, like what does X level of understanding look like, feel like to you, right? So that we can actually make sure like, hey, are we moving in the right direction? What do you need more support with? And, so we can say like, hey, in 90 days from today, where do you want to be?
90 days, I want to be closing my first deal.
Closing your first deal. Cool. So I just want to give you some clarity, right? So if you wanted to close your first deal, number one, keep in mind, most commercial transactions take 60 to 90 days to close. 60 to 90 days to close. I could definitely see it as within the next, I see it like this. I'd love for us to get really, really good. I want you to get so good at the micro commitments on a daily basis. Similar to going to the gym, if you can get so good at the way you work out, and the way you eat, it's inevitable to be in good shape. It's just a matter of time. The same thing happens for commercial real estate. If we can just have you doing the right activities on a very regular basis at a specific level that we can make commitments to, it's inevitable that you'll see a result in time. So let's start with scheduling. I'd love to understand more about your specific situation when it comes to how, like what your hours look like right now in your part-time job.
Basically, I clock in at work at 4:30 in the morning and it's still finished. So basically about 3 o'clock every day, I'm probably 12 hours or maybe a little bit less. Because like right now, it's a driving job. It's a sanitation job. But as I get more astute and more of a foundation with the commercial, I can scale it back. Because right now, I just switched jobs. I'm the same field, but I'm kind of like starting over with a new company. But same thing, so I'm learning their regimen. It gives me flexibility. Once I know the routines and everything, I can eventually scale back. I can kind of cut down my hours.
Okay, awesome. Okay, and that's how many days a week?
6 days a week.
6 days. Okay, great. So now we have an understanding of exactly where you're at. So 4:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. roughly. When are you? Give me a time where you could say I can open my commercial real estate business, like the door, like open the door for like I say that I am open as of right now. Like when is your commercial real estate business open for work?
I would say about 4:30 to probably like 6:30.
So let's do this. So we're gonna say for right now 4 to 6 p.m. Is that good, or 4:30 to 6:30?
That sounds good.
So you have 2 hours a day, 6 days a week, and then you have a seventh day which you have off.
Right.
And how many hours on that seventh day can you work?
At least 5 hours.
So what's going to happen here is this. For the next, let's call it 60 to 90 days even, okay? I'd say let's commit to 90 days. We're going to do this same thing every week, every day, without fail.
Okay.
Essentially, we're not going to change a single thing because the first thing is to build a pipeline. You have zero pipeline. Your pipeline is zero, right? No leads, no nothing. We need to build that pipeline, okay?
Correct.
And the only way to do that is to do what?
Make calls.
Correct.
Prospect.
Exactly right. So those 2 hours, I just want you to know, like, all you're going to do for those 2 hours for the first 90 days is literally just pick up the phone and prospect. What's going to happen is that eventually I'd like to have it be an hour or so of prospecting and an hour or so of pitching deals. There's two sides of the commercial real estate business. Okay. There's the lead generation side, and then there's the offer generation side. Okay? Because it's like basically the finding the sellers and then pitching that opportunity to a buyer to make an offer on it so that you can bring it to, an accepted deal and then to contract to close. Lead generation, offer generation. What happens here is that the biggest mistake you can make is not generating any opportunities and getting distracted with all the other miscellaneous magical bullshit that you can possibly spend your time doing. Okay?
True.
So
true.
all you're going to do for the first 90 days, okay, is just build a pipeline. Your goal is to literally, like I'm telling you, dude, I would say generate one seller lead a day. Ideally, if you can do one seller lead, one buyer lead, great. Because what's going to happen is, think about it like this. Let's say you just do this Monday through Friday. Okay, you're committed to doing this. You generate one seller lead, one buyer lead every single day, Monday through Friday, for the next 90 days. That means there's 20 working days on average in a month. That would be 60 leads in the next 90 days. That would be 60 sellers, 60 buyer leads. Now, probably what's going to happen is that 50% of the buyer leads are going to be meh. Right? They're going to probably not be super interested. Maybe half of them will be pretty damn interested. And then maybe a third of them or less, maybe 10% of them are going to be ready to buy today. And then of the sellers, it's going to be very similar, right? Like probably 80% of them are not going to be great deals, right? They're going to be like, I want $20 million for a $5 million property because I don't really need to sell it, right? And then the remaining 20%, half of them are going to be halfway decent and you might be able to make something happen. And then you're going to get like probably the top 5% of them are actually going to be pretty motivated and you might be able to do something with. So that's why I'm saying it's a matter of just saying my minimum commitment is what? So let's create that right now.
So like I say, at least try to create at least one buyer lead and one seller lead a day.
Wonderful. So one seller lead and one buyer lead every day. And you're going to put that into a CRM system. You don't put it into a note. You don't put it into a piece of, a piece of paper like this. You put it in a CRM system. What brokerage are you part of?
It's a small one. It's called Box Realty. They're out of Coral Springs.
Okay, cool. That's fine. Do they have a CRM that they provide you, or do you need to provide yourself?
I need to check with them, but if not, I might have to get my own one.
Okay, cool. So just ask about a CRM. Is there a CRM that you have there at the company? And if you need to provide one, I can connect you with a couple companies. So, because it's just a place to put your leads and then to put a task next to it to say, hey, I have to call this guy back on October 19th at 4 o'clock.
Gotcha.
Okay, that's the whole purpose of it. For the first 30 days, it's going to be 100% basically of cold prospecting outbound with almost no follow-up because you're building the pipeline of leads. Within 30 or so days, you're going to start having people where you're going to have to start calling them back, right? To start following up with these people. So it's going to be, instead of 2 hours, 4:30 to 6:30 of cold calling and prospecting outbound, you're going to cut 30 minutes short and you're going to start making 30 minutes of follow-up calls. It might start with 15 minutes because you might only have one person a day to follow up with. And then it'll be, over 60 days or 90 days, all of a sudden it's going to be more and more and more. You're going to have to spend from 15 minutes to 30, maybe 45 minutes on follow-up. Is that making sense?
That's making perfect sense.
Yeah, and sometimes it's even going to be, listen, 4 days a week, it might be just straight cold calling because you might not have to follow up with anybody on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Friday, and maybe Thursday you just jam-pack it with all your follow-up calls. Goal right now is build your pipeline, one seller lead a day, one buyer lead a day. Don't even worry about trying to sell the deals yet. But what I want you to know is, obviously, look, I have a number of team members that work for me in Florida, so if you have any interesting opportunities, you can always send them directly to me and we can take a look at them.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, because if anything's spectacular, obviously we can take a look. Minimum commitments is going to be the one seller lead, one buyer lead. I'd even try to tell you when you have a moment to just listen to content, I would be listening to a lot of the trainings, like underwriting trainings, the Millionaires Club old trainings, because we've been recording these for years, the trainings. So there's plenty of modules for you to rip through and just be listening to in the background. Other than that, the one thing I'll say is obviously on your one day off when you're saying 5 hours, I'd highly recommend that you're also doing the minimum metric, right? One seller lead a day, one buyer lead a day on that extra day. If you can get that done, great. If not, try to commit to doing it 6 days a week, whatever you can minimally commit to. But that last day, I would say that day should be all about pitching deals and getting deals sold, because you're going to be generating these opportunities. So there's no that Monday through Friday when you only have 2 hours, you don't have enough time to pitch deals during the week. You just don't have enough time. So that 5 hour day where you can be like, all I'm doing in 5 hours is I'm just sending out deals. I'm just talking to buyers. I'm just trying to take the opportunities that I've generated this week and I'm going to try to sell them. That's the entire purpose of that last day. And if you have no leads, let's say you went 2 or 3 days without generating a seller lead, what do you think you should do that day?
Get back and start prospecting again.
That's it. Exactly right. I'm telling you, it's a very simplistic industry. Obviously, the ways of understanding how to evaluate a property is a little bit more complex, right? And I want you to know you will learn that process while working with us, but you don't need to worry about that this second. You need to become incredibly proficient at hunting, right? You need to be able to go out into the world, go hunt for a lead, and come home every day with a lead. Because if you don't, your business goes nowhere, right? It's having a car with no gasoline in it. You got a Ferrari in the garage and it's not going anywhere. Okay.
That's true. That's very true.
So that's why we need to generate the seller opportunities. Now, what'll happen is once you start generating, and in 3 to 6 months from now you got a lot of seller leads and you've got some buyer leads, and you're going to start building relationships with those buyers. And you're going to start, again, you'll take them out for coffees, you go to dinners, you have lunches together. Like, you're going to start getting to know them a little bit. Okay. And throughout that process, whenever you start generating a lead, you're eventually going to start creating a VIP buyers list, your hottest buyer leads, people who are ready to buy today, people who own a lot of product, people who are not going to bullshit you, right? Who have the cash, they're ready to do something, right? And they have a track record of performing on buying properties in the past. And all you're going to do is this is exactly what I spend all my time doing. I'm either prospecting for new opportunities, coaching my team so they can do the same exact thing, or I'm calling up my VIP buyers and I'm sending them deals, pitching them deals, and I'm having them make offers on properties.
Makes sense.
I do the same thing.